hair metal products that should have been.
Wow, hair metal guru. Welcome to
Metal
the
Mike,
Metalcast.
man, it is good to be back, man. Great to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, and it's visual. We see each other.
Yeah, yeah. And in my case, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Same. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I enlisted you for this one, man. It's like hair metal products, 80's products that should have happened. So we know that, at least growing up as a kid, we're about the same age. Merchandise was just all over, toys, fast food tie-ins. I mean, you name it. But hair metal kind of stayed in its lane, right? T-shirts, VHS, the days of Kiss were kind of gone. Kiss was on everything in the 70's, lunch pails, garbage cans, friggin'
Yep.
Viewmaster. That stuff chilled out a little bit in the 80's, but I guess tonight we figure out, what if it didn't? What if they just kept going? And I think this is going to be fun, man. I tried to morph together like things that I really enjoyed in the 80's and kind of put them together with metal, a metal theme. But it sounds like you kind of went in a different direction.
Yeah. So, well, number one, I still am buying all the worthless Kiss shit that Gene Simmons is putting out. So my basement's full of that crap. He owes me. But yeah, I think it's weird, but the hair metal era didn't have a bunch of products because I think back then it was considered selling out.
Right.
If you were, if you were putting your name on all these different things, so they stuck with posters and shirts. You're right, but now we get to see what could have been. And I went kind of in left field because I tried to play around with it a little bit, but I think this is going to be a super fun conversation and it'll get people's minds, thinking about what could have been.
Yeah, and I hope that people in the comments put some different ideas that they have, because I'm sure there's going to be ones where like, oh my God, why didn't I think of that? So,
Right, right.
well,
So
man, I can't wait. Just let's get
I'm,
right into it.
I'm
Let's
ready.
hear what your 10 is.
Okay, so my number 10, um, the band Dangerous Toys. I mean, just the name of the band just screams metal merchandising. And so I thought, why didn't Dangerous Toys put out Dangerous Toys? For when your kid just won't learn and won't listen to them, Dangerous Toys. They will get that little fucker in line. I mean, the commercial just reeks of hit buying potential. And I know as a parent, now my kids are a little bit older, but how many times when I'm like, you know what, you son of a bitch, I wish I had some Dangerous Toys for you to play with. And sadly, we never got that product, but we should have.
You bring up a great point too. And look at the guy on the cover, that evil clown. Can you imagine
Right.
having some of that stuff as a toy?
Yes, yes.
Perfect. I love it.
And Jason McMaster, now the guy's been in like so many different bands. He's a rock and roll lifer. And he would, I'm just sure he wouldn't have to work as hard if he was living off the residuals of Dangerous Toys. So I think
Dangerous toys.
maybe Jason, maybe there's still a market for that. So give it a shot.
You take one, you go out in the road and play with it, and maybe lose an eye.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. But
Dangerous
then your
toys. I
kid's
like it. All right.
listening to you for the rest of the year. You know what I'm saying? There you
All
go.
right.
That's what you did.
I'm gonna just say this is my worst one. All right, this is my stupidest one, but I think it's got potential. Okay, let's go
Okay.
back to 1987. We got the Love is for Suckers album by Twisted Sister, right? Twisted Sister's trying a new look and a new sound and trying to fit in. On the cover, there is a Twisted Sister lollipop that a girl, I believe, is licking, or it's close to her mouth or something like that, right? I thought,
Yep.
why didn't they have Twisted Sister Suckers that they gave out when you bought the album, or at least had it at the front counter or something like that? Because that album didn't sell well. I think maybe with a Love Is for Sucker, they might have had some better sales.
Right. And D is not against, using the Twisted Sister name to rake in some profits. So man, I would have bought Twisted Sister Suckers,
Me too.
and it might have helped promote the sales of that album too, because that thing went to shit really
Definitely.
fast.
All
Yeah.
right. What do you got
Okay.
for number 9?
My number 9. So if people on, so my X account and my YouTube is at Hair Metal Guru. People that have followed my channel know that I taught high school English for the last 12 years. And So I also the theme song for my first serious girlfriend was by the band Bad English. The song was When I See You Smile, and I thought, you know what? I'm a teacher, and I have a lot of kids who have bad English, and so Bad English should have put out the Good English handbook for teachers with students who don't know shit about speaking properly. Promoted by the band. You use Bad English's lyrics to learn sentence structure and nouns, verbs, and adjectives and all that stuff. That's just an opportunity that was begging to be had. And I think I know why it didn't happen, because that album, the first album I think went platinum, but then Neil Sean was out of there, back to Journey.
Yep.
He wasn't thinking of ways to market Bad English, but missed opportunity, because the Bad English, Good English handbook I could have used many times in the classroom.
I like that. Yeah, using bad English to teach you good English.
Yep, yep.
I like it. I like it.
Thank you.
Okay, man. My number 9. This is a weird one. It's going to start getting weird, probably for both of us. This is going to get weirder as you go.
Oh yeah.
But as a kid, I was big into pro wrestling. And I remember I bought this Hulk Hogan weight set. Okay. So it had a little barbell, and it had the little crunchy things to get your wrist in shape. It had a headband, right? And it had like an instructional thing or whatever. So there was a Hulk Hogan workout set. Okay. Also, I was big into He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And I remember having some kind of dress up set of Skeletor where I had a sword and I had a shield and I had like a plastic loincloth. And when I say loincloth, some people already know where this is going. But anyways, I thought, how cool would it have been if there was a Man-O-War workout set, okay? Because Man-O-War was always known for being jacked and wearing loincloths, right? So I figure, if Man-O-War maybe was a little bit more poppy, a little bit more accessible, I think kids would have really gravitated to the Man-O-War workout set / dress up kit. So that's what I got for number 9.
And I always remember, even when I was younger, and here's Charlie. You're very popular on YouTube. And she's really dirty because she was rolling in the mud. When I was younger, every time I saw a picture of Man-O-War, I'm like, geez, those guys look like, they should be in movies or, superhero stuff. So the workout connection seems like so obvious that I'm actually shocked they didn't do, and rocker guys, we were kind of the loners, off on our own. So, we had these big dreams of being jacked and being rockers like Man-O-War. Obviously it didn't happen for us, but yeah, missed opportunity right there.
Yeah. And just think how big like Conan and Stallone and all this. I mean, Man-O-War workout kit. It would have been gold.
And hey, let me promote the most recent song by your musical venture Metalcast, Heavy Metal Rambo. Like there's products that could be tied in with that Man-O-War spiel, because Heavy Metal Rambo just screams like workout attire. And so, maybe you and I should promote that. We could retire early, I would think.
I think it's a brand. I can hear it. Heavy Metal Rambo. Well, thanks for bringing that up. We'll put a link in the video. So
yes, great song.
All right. Well, what do you got next?
Okay. So I'm such a huge Skid Row fan, and their debut album sells 5 million copies. It's got the guys are into it, with Youth Gone Wild. It's got the teenage girl market with I Remember You. But then maybe their biggest hit, maybe not their biggest hit, but one of their huge hits is a song about kids going to prison, 18 in Life. And I'm just thinking, how did Skid Row not market something for people who went to prison? So I thought the 18 in Life prison break instructions. When you're doing 18 to Life and you're like, fuck this, I'm out of here, buy Skid Row's 18 in Life prison break instructions. There's a huge market for that. Our prisons are filled with people dying for a way to get out, and Skid Row missed out on an opportunity there. So
the Skid Row jail escape kit, man. I like that. Instruction guide. Yeah. I like it.
And I mean, Sebastian Bach got into so much trouble. I mean, remember when he threw the bottle and hit the girl? I mean, you would have thought with all the times he was close to going to prison anyway, that he would have been working on that. And, Doc McGee was their manager for a while, or Scott McGee was their manager for a little while. There was a lot of opportunities to make some money there for Skid Row.
Nice. All right, man. So for me, my number 8, I kept thinking back to like what was some of the weird shit that we like to do, what was products that we like, but could have had a metal tie-in. But anyways, we always liked weird drinks, right? Like stupid seltzers and stuff. And we were into green slime and all this shit. And then I started to think, man, how awesome would it have been to have like a poison soda, right? So like it's almost like a Mountain Dew, but almost looks like toxic waste, like really bright green. And right on it, it says it's poison and it says it's toxic. And you'd be walking around drinking it and like freaking people out that you're drinking something that's poisonous or something like that. So I think a huge opportunity, man, was missed with some poison soda. So
and it would have like a lime green X underneath the poison band logo.
yep.
That Have you ever seen the movie Hot Tub Time Machine? When these guys go back in time to 1987 and they're going to a Poison concert. And anyway, it's a really freaking funny movie. You should check it out.
I gotta check it out.
I think of that tie-in when they made that movie. That movie probably came out about 10 years ago. But Poison was getting big again, their tours were starting to do awesome. 80s hair metal was coming back. This is around the time of Rocklahoma. Like, man, the fact that Poison didn't come out with an energy drink, like lime green energy drink with the Poison logo on the can, you could still do that.
Dude,
and I would
drinking poison. I'm telling you.
Poison. And you might live.
You might live.
And that's a good tagline. You might live, but you might not. I'd go for it.
All right, man. What do you got for 7?
Okay. So my number 7 is okay. So Def Leppard just blows up in the 80s. They have 2 diamond albums, so the fact that they weren't marketed more and didn't have more products. I mean, I remember having a big Def Leppard Hysteria poster in my room. So I was up for anything Def Leppard back in the 80s. And their big hit, the song that made Hysteria blow up, Pour Some Sugar on Me, and you don't have any sugar products. So I introduced Pour Some Sugar Shakers from Def Leppard, and you can pour them, on your girlfriend, like as the song says, you can pour them on your pancakes or whatever, but that Def Leppard did not have some sort of sugar-related product in the grocery stores. They probably didn't need the money because Hysteria was going like 13 times platinum anyway. But and I think a lot of these are missed opportunities, and we're reminding these bands of how much money they left on the table.
That is genius. And what is so strange is that my number 7 is also Def Leppard, but I thought of Def Leppard cereal. Okay.
Okay.
And I got more to come with it. But I'm also okay. So I'm picturing like little marshmallows of like that triangle shape on the cover of Hysteria, that kind of stuff. But of course, the tagline is going to be "Pour some milk on me." Okay. Right. So, all right, here's the jingle. All right. Breakfast time, anytime, sugar yourself sweet with Def Leppard cereal, loaded with rocket marshmallows that will help kick your day into motion. Can you hear those crunchy flakes scream to pour some milk on me? So there you go. That's the commercial. So between the sugar shakers and the cereal, they boned it, man. They missed out.
You've got breakfast right there. Def Leppard. It's what's for breakfast, man.
I love it.
Like, it's making me hungry right now.
Number 6.
Okay. So I'm actually not the world's biggest Mr. Big fan. Like, I like some of their stuff. To me, their music almost sounded a little too busy. They were so talented that it was like, so anyway, I do like Mr. Big, but they had such an opportunity with, now hear me out. It's going to sound weird right away. Mr. Big condoms.
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
Whether, and now here's the tagline on the commercial. Whether you're Mr. Big, Mr. Little, or Mr. in the middle, we've got you covered with Mr. Big and covered, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Mr. Big condoms. you know, every rocker in the 90s would have been purchasing these. They you know, and you could have had like glow in the dark or all sorts of different, you know, maybe when you open up your condom box, To Be With You starts playing, and who didn't want to be rapping on a condom when that ballad was playing? It did go to number 1 on the Billboard charts. So Mr. Big Condoms, man, I still
That's huge. It's huge.
it's huge, huge, huge. Yes. So there you go.
Oh, I love that one. All right. My number 6. Now that I look at this one, I almost feel like it's kind of stupid, but I'm going to try to put it in perspective. Okay. So
And
I
Mr. Big
thought back to
Condoms
like
is
when I
it?
was really young.
Okay.
Like when you're a kid, you had a nightlight. Okay. A lot of kids had nightlights.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I also thought of like, as we got older, I remember one of my buddies had this thing. It was like a laser light. So like a music would play and then it would like write some shit up on the, like, shoot lasers up on the ceiling or
Right.
some crap. Okay.
Right.
So then I started to think of like, Kiss has got to do something in the 80's, right? Well, how about the crazy nightlight? Okay. So yeah, so it's
I
a
see
Kiss
what you did there.
nightlight that does some weird shit, basically. You know what I mean? It's basically, it's not only as it could function as a nightlight, but you could hit different buttons and it might shoot the Kiss logo out on the wall, or it strobes, or it shoots lasers, and you could put on your own Kiss concert in your bedroom. But yeah, it's the Kiss crazy nightlight. So
And there you could even have the Kiss Crazy Nightlight and the Kiss Rock and Roll All Night Light.
there we
I just
go.
thought of that.
I
Like
like it.
why
You
are
could have
we not
different
working
ones.
for some sort of advertising company? I don't know. And surprisingly, and if you see my like I have so many Kiss things up on my wall. I did not come up with a Kiss product, and I'm kind of disappointed. I'll probably flog myself later.
They
And
pretty much thought of all of them. That's why we can't think of one for them.
right, right. And I have, this is legit. I have told my family, and I'm being completely serious, that when I die, I do want to be buried in a Kiss casket. I mean, they're only like $3,000. And I think, you know, if my friends are still around, that you know, they would appreciate going to my
Nice.
funeral and seeing a Kiss casket. So number 5. So I was just laughing at one of my other ones. Okay, Motley Crue.
You gotta
Motley
have
Crue.
crew.
Uh you know, Dr. Feelgood, huge, goes like 6 times platinum. And I don't know why they didn't see this connection, because I think my favorite song on Dr. Feelgood is Kickstart My Heart. And that song is about Nikki Sixx ODing on drugs, and they slammed, you know, Narcan into his heart to get him out of his, you know, almost death-like experience, to bring him back to life. So I said, Motley Crue, kickstart my heart Narcan for that drug overdose that really wants to kill you. And, you know, you could market that to hospitals or to ambulance services, you know, kickstart my heart Narcan, you know, jab it into your heart. You come back to life, just like Nikki Sixx. You
Yep.
know, maybe when you open it up, Kickstart My Heart starts playing. I don't know. That could be, you know, that could be an extra added benefit of purchasing this. So missed opportunity. Seems like a no-brainer.
And I hate to pick on the situation that we're in currently, but this kind of stuff is more common than ever. So for Motley Crue not to get involved with this whole thing is madness, really. So
And you're right. It's a kind of serious, but I mean, it's also a little bit funny. Like the leading cause of death for young Americans is drug overdose. So, you know, like, and a lot of young Americans these days, I feel like Motley Crue. I mean, they're more popular than ever on tour. So you got to put it up. You got to put it up.
I'm down with it. All right, number 5. Like I said, I feel like I'm always going back to things. With every one of them that I did, I feel like I'm going back. So I think back to when it was probably like 1986. Did an air band with my buddies, and we did Motley Crue Home Sweet Home. And one thing that we had to do was like my dad cut out like guitar shapes out of like plywood or something like that, and we spray painted them and all this shit. But I was thinking, man, what if there was, or when we did air guitar, just we didn't have a guitar, back in the 80's, you know what I mean? Air drums. But I was thinking, too bad there wasn't like air guitars that were actually like look like the real guitars of some of our heroes that actually played music. Now, my kids had something like this. They were called air jams or something like that. That was not, it was
Yep.
maybe 10 years ago or something like that. But
Yep.
I thought in the 80s, this would have been so cool. I thought you could have the Les Paul for Slash and also have the logos on it. You know, have the Guns N' Roses logo on it, the Axe bass. Come on. Who wouldn't
Right.
want a fake Axe bass that was, you could get cheap, that like busted out some Kiss tunes and had the Kiss
Yep.
logo on it. CC Skullhead guitar. That would have
Yep.
been sweet. And then I thought the Mick Mars Warlock, the from Looks That Kill with the pentagram on it, Motley Crue
Right.
logo. You hit the
Right.
button and the Looks That Kill riff jams out of it.
Yeah.
Those would you would
So
have
this
enjoyed
would
that
be
as a kid, man.
like a toy guitar,
Yeah,
but
it's just like
marketed with like real bands.
yeah, toy
Okay.
guitar. It's not real. Yeah, and it could be
Right.
super thin. It's just like what I was talking, just an amped up version of like the cutout plywood that I was talking about, but
Yeah.
made out of plastic,
Yeah.
plays music, runs off batteries, and you can pretend to be a legit rocker.
And so much better than the broomstick that we were all using. I mean, that's what I was using back in
Tennis
the 80s.
racket. Yep.
Tennis racket. Yeah. So that's probably legitimately the best idea, the one that is actually the most realistic that should have been done.
Yeah. That would have been
Because
huge because you figured,
man,
like for me, and probably same for you. I mean, I was really young into this music, and there
oh
was no
yeah,
way, like when I first got into it, like around like 10 years old, that I was gonna be able to learn how to play guitar. But something like
yeah.
this, been a
And
blast.
my parents were never going to spend that kind of money on a real guitar, but if they were walking through Target and
Mhm.
found a $12, Kiss Gene Simmons axe bass, they might have sprung for that. So that's more realistic for most
Yep,
kids.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right, man. Number 4.
Okay. I feel kind of bad because a lot of my topics are kind of on the lower degenerate side of my personality.
That's okay, man. You gotta you do you.
Okay.
I
All right.
wouldn't expect anything less.
So Bullet Boys. All right. Bullet Boys, huge single with Smooth Up In Ya. Now, Smooth Up In Ya. I mean, that screams hand lotion, right? The
Yeah.
Bullet Boys Smooth Up In Ya hand lotion. And I thought for that teenage boy and those lonely Friday nights when, all your cool friends are out partying and hanging out with the girls and you're all by yourself and, here comes the Bullet Boys with Smooth Up In Your hand lotion. And, suddenly you're not really all that alone anymore. So, I mean,
There
I
you
know I
go.
could relate. I mean, the 14-year-old me definitely was all about this product. So,
I love it, like especially the whole idea of having smooth skin, smooth
yeah.
skin, Bullet Boys.
Yeah.
Another
Yeah.
another missed opportunity.
Right. Right. Mark Tureen,
Yep.
get a hold of
Yep.
me. Okay. I want
All
part.
right. Well, if you thought my other one was legit, this one might be also legit. Like I think this could have worked too. All right. So I don't know about you, but back in the day, man, when we were kids, we used to go down to like the magazine shop at the candy store. We'd buy all kinds of screwed up candy and, get all hyped up and then ride our bikes all over the place and shit. You know what I mean? So I thought, wouldn't it be nice if there was like metal gummy candies, okay? But like they're huge. Like I've seen these things and this more recently, like big giant gummy snakes and all this kind of shit. How cool wouldn't it have been to have the Alice Cooper gummy snake that you would put around your neck? You could sit there and gnaw on it. You know what I mean? Like you would have loved that.
Right.
Or have a
Right.
white one that for White Snake. Then I said, well, geez, maybe we could even take this a step further. What if you did like the wasp raw meat? Remember when Blackie had the raw
Yep.
meat hanging out of his mouth? It
Yep.
could be like a gummy raw meat. And then
Yep.
last but not least, I thought wouldn't it have been cool to have a gummy Simmons tongue. So I have a real long ass tongue that you could flap all over the place. And then when you're done with it, you
Right.
just eat it. You know what I mean? Or lick it up.
Right. 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 When I was a bartender in my early 20s and they sold, it was a bar restaurant and we sold a bunch of candy and chocolate and stuff at the front. But for a period they started selling candy necklaces. Well, all the people that worked there, the bars, we all started wearing candy necklaces like it was so cool. And then when we would drink afterwards, after work, we would like eat off each other's candy necklaces.
Oh,
So that feels like something that is real and it turns into a niche market and people, like in certain groups are buying these things, promoting these things.
Mm-hmm.
So we had customers buying these candy necklaces because they thought it was so cool. Anyway, I mean, that's something that should be going on right now.
Last thing that I thought about this is just as we were talking about it, is with the Simmons tongue, man. Too bad it wasn't loaded with like fake blood, right? So you bit into that tongue, all the shit gushed out, like gush candy gush stuff. You know what I'm
Right,
talking about? Yeah. But all
right.
right.
Oh man, that's perfect. That's
There we
perfect. I
go.
like
All
to
right.
buy that now.
Okay. Number 3.
Okay, it's my turn. Okay. Um, man, I wore my Brittany Fox shirt today because one of my picks was inspired by the band Brittany Fox. And if I ask you what the biggest Brittany Fox hit song is, what would you say?
I'd say girl school.
Girls' School. Well, girl, that screams marketing. That screams product. So the girls' school uniforms, Brittany Fox girls' school uniforms, but not just for a regular high school. You know those bad kids when you're in high school that you're always like, man, they get into a bunch of trouble, they get kicked out of school. I'm talking about girls' school uniforms for the bad girls who got kicked out of school and they get sent to the naughty school. That's where these things I feel like could have been really big sellers. And, when you're walking the hallways, they're playing Brittany Fox videos, every 15 minutes, girls' school plays. And, so the Brittany Fox girls' school uniform, I mean, that could have been a legit product for like Halloween and stuff,
Oh
but
yeah.
so surprised that nobody thought of it first. Maybe, Dean Davidson and Michael Kelly Smith were too busy fighting, which eventually broke up the band, and that pisses me off because I love Brittany Fox.
Yep.
But girls' school uniforms should have happened.
Well, you
Should
know what else would have been cool is a Halloween costume of maybe some of the members, like a giant wig with their nice little fluffy shirts and
Come on, you're not
yeah, a
saying that
costume
any of
like
these are
that. I'd wear that.
you're not saying any of these are wigs, are you? Because
No.
I would be very I would be very upset if you would imply that Brittany Fox. Like off topic, what percentage of people do you think actually were sporting their real full length hair back in the 80s? Weren't most of them wearing at least extensions?
Yeah, I think. Oh, I say half were real. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yep.
okay. Anyway,
Okay. Perfect segue. Hair products. Okay. This would be great for then, and I think would still work today because hair metal, as we've known, was not a thing in the 80's, but it's a thing today, right?
yeah.
And some people don't like it, but you gotta have some White Snake, Here I Go Again, hair products, okay? Whether
See
it
what you
be
did there.
hairspray, whatever it is, man. White Snake's Here I Go Again, and then you should have the Slow and Easy hot oil treatment. That's when you've been putting too much hairspray in. So I think hair metal hair products
Oh,
today especially would be gold.
shocking that there weren't more music related hair care products back in the day. And if you've ever, I don't have one by me, but even, I mean, I didn't have like I had a ponytail for a period of time, but I was putting so much shit into my hair that when you touched it, it just went crunch, crunch.
Yep,
So,
same.
hey, did you say hair I go again, hair products?
I did.
Such a missed opportunity. Gee.
Genius. All right. Number
Okay.
2.
Number 2. So the band Accept, still going strong to these days. Uh, had a huge hit, and one of my favorite guitar riffs in metal history is from the song "Balls to the Wall." So, how did Accept not come up with some sort of balls to the wall product? And I thought, Accept, don't worry, I got you. The balls to the wall penis pump. When yours won't go all the way, Accept's penis pump will get you to the wall. Okay.
There you
Now,
go.
so and how many, I mean, people get tricked, by like if they watch, stuff they shouldn't be watching online, and it's like, oh, make it grow 5 inches, and people fall for that stuff. Well, Accept could have been the leader of that pack. That's a reference to a Twisted Sister song.
There you go.
by coming out with the balls to the wall penis pump. And I still feel like that's a legitimate opportunity. So
That's great. I don't have a lot to add to that
not
one,
that
but
I need it, not that I need it. I'm
no,
saying
no, you don't. No, we don't
other
need them.
people, for me, somebody else, not me.
Gotcha. All right. Number two. I feel like yours, you're going one way. This is about the total opposite ways you could possibly go.
Yeah.
But I think back to when I was a kid, same scenario. I remember being young and I was into certain stuffed animals, man. I had like the Gremlins and I had an Ewok and all this shit. And I was like, man, who wouldn't have want some heavy metal like Build-A-Bear type shit, right? You're like Rat, you have like that nasty looking fuzzy rat. Maybe he wears a rat shirt and he has a spiked wristband. The White Lion, Great
Right?
White, a shark,
Oh,
but they're all kind of
right?
dressed up as rockers. The Brittany
Yeah,
Fox to go with your shirt, and of course
right.
the Death Leopard. So like so many cool metal animal stuffed guys you could have had. Maybe they could have had little plastic guitars. They could have had who knows what little rat t-shirts and shit that they wore. But yeah, mine's very wholesome. Yours wasn't so much, but this was a wholesome one.
Yeah, sometimes I get off and yours definitely, your products are like legit, and my next one, my number one's gonna be legit. It's not.
Oh, all right. Let's hear it. This better be the best.
Okay, I think it's the best. Okay, Winger, man, such a talented band, such a great band. I feel like they got so screwed by Stewart, and the Winger shirt. Anyway, that's off topic. I'm a big Winger fan. And one of, maybe not their biggest hit, but maybe their most famous song and most controversial song, She's Only 17. So, my brother's in law enforcement. He's a cop. And so I thought one of the things that you got to look out for child predators. So I thought the Winger, She's Only 17, handcuffs.
There you
But
go.
you got to have the question mark on that. So
Right.
when you could have swore that she was 18 and suddenly the cops show up, they're coming at you with Wingers. She's only 17, handcuffs.
I
And
love it.
law enforcement, for those people who are out trying to get rid of a serious problem, people who are trying to do illegal things with underage, that's just a no. And
Yep.
I think Wingers, She's Only 17, handcuffs could stop a lot of crimes from happening. So I'm just happy to do my part to help law enforcement in any way I can.
Well, I think they could make good with their song because at the time it didn't seem so bad, but today it seems kind of weird. So maybe the handcuffs could like redemption. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Right, right. Have they ever thought about changing that lyric? I did say Winger. Was it last summer? I think last summer at the Red River Valley Fair, and they were phenomenal. But they, like She's Only 17. I mean, yeah, nowadays that kind of, I mean, Kiss had Christine 16.
Yep.
I don't know if anybody dared go below that, but they were playing with fire there for a while.
So this is my time to do my number one, and some of this kind of correlates with a conversation that you and I were texting back and forth the other night, and I was like, "Hey, when you were a kid, did you play around with like throwing stars and nunchucks?" And you're like, "What the hell's wrong with you? What the hell kind of childhood did you have?" And I was like, "I just thought this was normal that kids like wanted to be ninjas and shit."
No, we just we rode bike and looked through our uncle's Playboys. That's like normal kids.
Oh,
Hello.
okay. Well, we were big into like smoke bombs and nunchucks and throwing stars and all that stuff. So let me just hit you with the infomercial and then we'll get into the product. So, do you want to be somebody? How about a heavy metal ninja? Well, now you can with Wasp saw blade throwing stars. Okay, so for me, this would have been the be all end all. Loved Wasp, loved throwing stars. I mean, just think of all the people you could have hurt. You could have hurt yourself. You know what I mean? You could have been throwing these at trees, throwing these at your buddies. I just think this would have been great. You could have had like a little armband, looks like Blackie did, right? And they'd pop right off
Right,
and you could whip them. But who knows? Maybe you could do something like this where they just shoot right off your freaking arm.
right, right.
So to me, I
And,
think that would have been a great toy. You could have that plus your raw meat gummy you would have been, and then maybe we get into the spark spewing cod piece, but that really might be pushing it. But I think Wasp had a lot of potential to do some really weird stuff with all the kind of things that they did. So it's too bad they didn't do it.
The spark spewing cod piece would have to be like the deluxe version. That's for like the rich kids who,
Yeah.
parents were willing to buy him anything,
Yeah, that would be, I guess that thing backfired a few times. You ever see that video where he talked about that? I think it was on VH1 or something like that. Like it was like most metal moments or least metal moments or something like that. And yeah, I guess he got his balls scorched a couple times by that thing. So
right.
He's a crazy man.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Any other honorable mentions, things that didn't make it that you could think of, or did?
Well, I was gonna come up with something for Cinderella slippers.
That would have been good.
That's like it was ready, shit you could. I mean, I've actually had a pair of AC/DC slippers. I have a pair right now of Kiss Crocs.
Nice.
Yes, that's legit. And so Cinderella slippers, like Cinderella slippers. I thought of I'm a big Dirty Looks fan. They had the album Turn of the Screw, the Dirty Looks Turn of the Screw tool set. Lita Ford, Kiss Me Deadly Chapstick.
Yeah.
Firehouse fire extinguishers and Slaughter's Up All Night sleeping pills. Where for when you're up all night, but you can't be because you got to work the next morning. So those are my honorable mentions.
Oh, you know what one I thought about that would have been kind of cool? It was so similar to the Twisted Sister, so I kept it off. And I wanted to keep it open for maybe you to come up with something like this. But I mean, how did Warrant not have the cherry pie?
Oh,
remember the Hostess ones?
I sat thinking about Warrant cherry pie, but I thought that was just even too like Warrant cherry. So I was trying to think of a different way to go about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it didn't work out. So.
Yeah, I didn't use it either because it was so obvious, but I thought that would have been another great tie-in, you know what I mean? Because I won't get into it, but like, being stupid kids, you would have done some weird shit with
or
it.
like, like your nunchuck thing, like you could have had the Warrant machine gun.
Ooh.
Would have been another idea, but
Yeah.
Hey,
could have had some candy cigars with the dollar bill.
Right.
So who knows?
Exactly.
One had a lot of potential. Well, this was fun, man. You definitely had me laughing quite a bit with yours. I'm glad that we went in different directions. I went really like back to when I was a kid, and you went to more stuff that might fly today with us. But I like it. It's a nice contrast.
I've been told that I have issues, and I'm working through them. My counselor says I'll be good to go in about 6 to 8 months. Or 18 to life, if you know what I'm saying. No. Hey, man, appreciate you having me on. My channel's the Hair Metal Guru, and you can see me at Hair Metal Guru on X. So love your channel, love the music that you're doing with Metalcast, Heavy Metal Rambo. Legitimately, I listen to that. I bet once a day. It's on my workout playlist. Nice. So you're doing awesome things. So thank you for having me on.
Yeah, man, definitely. We'll put a link to your channel. And like I said, you guys, you're having all kinds of your buddies coming on. I've been on there a few times. It's a great time. It's always fun. So.
All right. Thanks, brother.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
All right.